have to do is resist what I call pseudo-compassion. It sounds good. I'm going to do this for you and this for you and take care of all your needs. And all you have to do is vote for me. You know, this is what we've gotten to. But you know what? I actually am encouraged because I think people are actually starting to wake up. I think people are actually starting to see through some of that silliness. And I think they are actually starting to realize that we're getting further and further into trouble because people in the past have not been vigilant and have not thought for themselves. You know, we have to be able to understand that those people who dichotomize everything are not our friends. They say it's either this or it's that. But it doesn't have to be either or. You know, I think about our energy resources. We're the #1 producer of oil in the world right now. And that's based on just 3% of the land because the government owns everything else. They don't need to own it, but they do. Now, what if we go ahead and really develop our energy resources, our natural gas, which we can now liquefy and export? Can you imagine how that could have a beneficial effect on our national debt and helping us to pay it down? But there are those who say, but that's fossil fuel, you're polluting everything. We're not polluting everything, but we do have an environmental protection agency, and instead of using them to suppress our energy development, why don't we transform them to an agency that works with business and industry and academia to find the safest and cleanest ways to use our products? That would make much more sense. And at the same time, work on renewable energy sources. You know, we have these complex brains. We can do more than one thing at a time. And, you know, this is one of the mechanisms that people use to create the division. But even if you don't agree about it, you can still discuss it and find ways to work together. And I don't think everybody has to agree about everything. In fact, I'm fond of saying if two people agree about everything, one of them isn't necessary. So, you know, we just can't fall into that battle all the time about everything. But what is it going to take to solve our problems? There's so many of them. But common sense, wisdom from God, and courage. And that's what we must remember. The people who preceded us, they had courage. Think about Nathan Hale, teenage spy, caught by the British, ready to be executed. Did he chicken out? No. He said, my only regret is that I have but one life to give for my nation. Think about that kind of courage. Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death. Think about the soldiers in World War II, D-Day, Normandy, storming the shores, being mowed down by the hundreds, 1,000 bodies laying on the sandy beach. Did our soldiers turn back? Were they fearful? I'm sure they were fearful, but they didn't turn back. They stepped over the bodies of their dead comrades, and they overwhelmed the Axis forces, knowing in many cases that they would never see their beloved ones again, or their land of birth. Why were they willing to do that? I'll tell you why. Because they wanted you to be free. Now the question is, what are we willing to do? Are we willing to stand up for the things that this nation stands for? Or do we want to be like everybody else? Are we going to have courage? Are you willing to do what the pre-revolutionaries did? They would go out, they would have town meetings. They would gather in the barn, in the town center, and they would talk about what kind of nation were they willing to fight for? What did they want to pass on to their children and their grandchildren? And because of that, They encouraged each other, and a ragtag bunch of militiamen defeated the most powerful empire on earth. Determination. They knew who they were. We need to once again grasp the principles that made America strong. Go out and talk to your cousin. Talk to your uncle who hasn't voted in years. Tell them what's going on in America. Tell them that we, the people, are at the center of this nation, but we must exercise those rights. And if we do that, I guarantee you that we will bring our faith back into the center of our society. We don't have to listen to those people who tell us that you're stupid to believe in God. They're welcome to believe whatever they want. And they're welcome to continue their downward spiral. But we don't have to do that. Because we have been told what is true. And we have seen it already. And if we will honor God, and if we will use the brain that he has given us, and we live by the principles that he has given us, then we will once again have one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now let us just have a word of prayer. Kind Father in heaven, we're so grateful that you have provided us with everything that we need. All we need is the courage and the willingness to speak for you. And we can provide the kind of nation that you intended. And we can lead the world in the direction that you intended. Give us the courage to do this, we ask. In the worthy name of Jesus.